Well, good afternoon, folks. Just finishing up a nice workout at the gym, and leading into our third segment for the day, I had some time to really reflect on this topic, and this topic that I want to talk about a little bit in this moment with you is going to be somewhat sensitive, but yet we have to kind of bring this to the surface in a way that hopefully we can take something from it. And what I want to bring to our attention today is this issue that is happening in the Afro American culture, in particular. As you can see throughout the news, we've had numerous shootings of black men in particular over the past 3 to 4 months. And when we look at the root cause, we're not necessarily getting the root cause from the news. We have to do our own homework on that because the root cause is not really established, meaning that we just get the surface information, which generates a lot of emotion, pain, frustration, anger. People want to protest to make a point. And what I've come to understand is that's very common in a few of these examples that we've seen in the news today is not just a willingness to comply with the law. Realistically, what I'm seeing is people having the wrong attitude, having the wrong approach towards police officers or to themselves, and taking the wrong actions. Because let's face it, most of these incidences that are happening, we're noticing that the trend is that they're in low income areas or people who are living a life that is a reflection of their outside appearance. So if they're appearing to be dressing in a thuggish way of living, the police officers are quote unquote trained to identify this as a possible trigger. And in addition to that, they're also possibly trained to find ways how to provoke and see how far they can push someone to a certain degree. Because they tend to allow stereotypes, past histories, things that they've studied with different incidences that they've accumulated over time to really help them hone, quote unquote, their skills in the area of perception. And because of that, we have to take a pause for the cause. As young black men, it is important for us to understand that the power is not so much in fighting back, but the power is in understanding who we are as an individual. Because the truth is, no matter what happens, I know for a fact that being black, no matter what happens to me, I can walk out the door, I'm going to get pulled over. And if I get pulled over, they're going to say what they want to say to figure out what type of person they're dealing with. So I have a choice to make when I'm in a position like that, just like everybody else. No matter what your situation is, you can be brought up in the roughest environment or in a suburban area, it doesn't matter. The truth is you're still going to be identified as black, and how you choose to respond versus react is what they're looking for. Remember, when we respond, we take a pause and we allow ourselves to process what's going on. When we choose to react, we are emotionally charged. When we look at these incidences as well, we find that people are allowing, quote unquote, the oppression of history and what's been going on in our past to impact us in our current reality. And the truth is, we have a lot more resources and tools to be better, but we are choosing not to be. We are finding ways how to justify certain behaviors if it's in a position of a police officer confronting you. We want to feel that we have rights. So we want to allow ourselves to be pushed in a way to say we're going to push back. And little do we realize that when we do that, we're actually setting up ourselves in a way of failure. And we actually don't get a sense of allowing ourselves to find out what our true greatness is because we allow our ego and pride to govern us. And hence, when those things happen, such as what's been happening in the news, it's impacting other black men. It's a domino effect. Even though we are individuals, the world tends to put us in categories or in a group, and they want it to apply to everyone. It's not fair, but that's the way how life works. So here's my solution. Look at the fact of how you see the world. Look at how you tend to react or respond in situations such as this, and take these opportunities to learn from it. Because I've been pulled over by the cops many times, and the most important thing to always realize is, yes, you have rights, and yes, you're in a position to understand why you're being quote unquote pulled over. But always ask, sir or ma'am, can I have your badge number? Can I have your name? And take that information down. Especially if you find that there isn't anything that's warranting them to continue to question or provoke you. At least you have a reference point. And you go through the process. Do your due diligence. Go through the process with them. Don't give them ammunition to come back and exude power on you that you're actually giving them fuel to actually do. So, here we are today. It's 2015. It is not 1915. How are we going to learn how to change our approach? How are we going to learn how to change our attitude, our approach to life, and our actions that we take, and how we choose to behave? Because let's face it, folks, it's not a global issue, it's a local issue, meaning an individual. It is one person making that change. And if one person can do it, yes, we are going to affect change. But change can only happen at a very slow pace if we understand why we are doing it. So, let's work on our why to make this change possible, and let's see where it takes us.